in the life cycle of our church, and some different things need to kind of be reinvented, or a decade from now, our church will be in a completely different place, and whatever that means. You can extrapolate whatever that means. It could mean we have to hand the reins over to somebody else, or we've got to do something else, etc. Could mean a number of things. So on one hand, it's a little bit of a warning that within a decade, some things could be really different around here. On the other hand, it's also an opportunity. It's an opportunity in the sense that there's an opportunity to invest in the people who are here, to invest in retirees. We've talked about that, and that a lot more retirees are even moving up here because it's affordable if you've had a lifetime to accumulate wealth to actually buy a house up here. So there's a chance to invest in that group. There's a chance to get that group to invest in the next generation. There's a chance to invest in the people who are around in this age 4 to 18 kind of range too. So there's opportunities to invest, and of course then there's opportunities to try and fill in some of the gaps. Okay? So that's just one piece of a puzzle that I wanted to highlight. It's not unrelated to a year ago we had some visioning process. And yes, I will throw out a quick apology to say we did not do a good job of following up on that, myself especially, in following up on that visioning process. But these are the 5 big areas that came out of that process. Namely, what would it look like to focus on retirees and widows to be able to provide care, not to put widowers, where's Ken Kaufman? There's widowers too. So what does it look like to maybe invest in them and do ministry and all that goes with that? And then youth and families, what does it mean to concentrate on youth and families? The ones who are here and the ones who are not here yet, that kind of thing. And then 3 other things that came out of it. And I just want to say I feel like we've done some work around all of these things, including, we have a lot of emphasis on mission and outreach, whether it's going away from this place to work with World Renew or Kentucky, or there's some people going to where Ann Chenard went in Zambia. Did you know that? The whole Burgess clan is going to Zambia in August. Put you on the spot because you have to testify about it. So, and then local outreach, right? We've got a lot going on for local outreach, but again, you got to watch out because a decade from now, things could be much different. Did you know basically the average age of the people who help at Community Meal is about 78? Who help, not who attend. Yeah, who help. And so nothing against 78-year-olds. Don't hear what I'm not saying, but do hear what I am saying. And then some emphasis on spiritual formation and education, which we do some of that stuff. We've tried to open up Kingdom Journey and Pilgrim. It's not some little cult. It's a spiritual formation movement, and every follower of Jesus should be interested in spiritual formation. So we've tried to open that up to more people and say, hey, we've got some things to offer you, et cetera, et cetera. So kingdomjourney.substack.com. You can hear lots of people's different stories. So anyways, we've got some emphasis around that. We've had a lot of emphasis around beauty in the arts, just even to have the I Am Art Project that was in the fellowship hall from the beginning of the year till the end of Lent. And now we've got Mike's art in the stairway. And we had all the art in here during Lent from Scott Erickson. A lot of things related to beauty in the arts that we can keep working on. So all that to say that we've been working on some of this stuff, and we want to step in even deeper in those top 2. So that's part of what I'm talking about investing in the future. So I'm just naming puzzle pieces here. So let me just name another one. My wife, Andrea, is on staff here. She's the pastor of Care, Community, and Kids, which was never a realistic job description in terms of being able to accomplish all of that. And so for a long time has felt like it could accomplish maybe 2 of the 3, but to really invest in all 3 and invest in the care part, whether it's care with older people or care with women, really helpful to have her on staff, because if you're a woman, it's really nice to be able to call up Andrea and not have to talk to me or Drew. No offense to us. But to be able to pour time into the care and pour time into the kids and pour time into the other events that we have, whether that be trunk or treat or tubing or whatever, Coco and caroling, whatever it happens to be, was essentially like a 60-plus hour week job if you really wanted to do it all and do it all well. And so when she had her review last year, she met with the personnel people and said, this isn't working. And the personnel people said, well, what would work? And she said, well, part of what I really feel called to focus on is the care piece. Care for everybody across the congregation, especially those who are in that other demographic that we've got needs here in terms of caring for people. And but also, like I said, women. And so having heard that, then that's another piece of it, so I'll come back to it, but essentially wanting to really pour weight into that care piece and pull back a little bit from what it means to be in charge of the kids' ministry. And again, don't hear what I'm not saying. She loves kids, but the leadership of the ministry wanted to pull back from that. So those are a couple of different puzzle pieces. Another little puzzle piece is that financially, over the last couple years, we've been really blessed. We sold the Crossing property for $470,000. We got a massive gift from, that's terrible, Bill Garrettson. From Bill Garrettson, that was $760,000. So if you add that really quick, that's $1.1 million. So we have money that's been around. And then you add to that all the while, we're always talking about the facilities around here, and more recently made a couple of little changes, including painting this sanctuary. And so grateful for the facilities team to arrange all of that and make those things happen. And now this front section's being painted this week. If you look that side of it's very painted very well. This side is going to get painted this week up on here. You'd be surprised how messed up it gets. I don't know who's kicking it, but somebody's kicking it. So all that to say that there's so demographic regions. How do we invest in the next generation? What does it look like from a facility standpoint and from a personnel standpoint? So let me keep moving. The facilities team, which is headed up by Jonathan, but who all's a member of the facilities team? Who's on that team? Dave Taylor, Tricia Novak, anybody else here? And it's Larry Nelson, and who else is on that team? Bill O'Brien, Bob Peterson. So that crew, I just want to let you know that they are having conversations about what else we might want to do so that a couple of things can happen. We can invest in the next generation by refreshing some of our spaces and making some of the spaces attractive to, but also convenient for the next generation, and just reinvest in those spaces, and also reinvest on behalf of this generation. So one of the things the facilities team is looking at, they're getting a lot of estimates and trying to make priorities of what could come next in terms of the things that we do next, including everything the elevator, which we could really use a new elevator. And the capacity to use that, the use of that elevator is not going to diminish, it's going to increase. So it's like, hey, what would that look like? It is not cheap. We do have a fund that's dedicated to those sorts of things, for lack of a better name, like a handicap fund, and we can put some money toward it, but it's not enough to pay for a new elevator. But they're checking out plans like that because we can refresh the whole entrance space. Jessica Stroud even drew up drawings a couple years ago of refreshing that whole entrance space and replacing the elevator. Maybe that's a possibility. But we're talking about what would it look like? Maybe we need to replace or redo the flooring and seats in here and flooring and lighting out there. And in fact, we've already gone ahead and bought new lighting for those chandeliers that are back there above Mel and Trudy. And all the way out into the fellowship hall, we've bought new lighting, and so that will be installed. But I just want to let you know that some of those conversations are taking place so that you're not surprised later when there might be proposals about things we might want to do, because we've got some of that seed money, but we also might come along and say, hey, are you willing to invest in the future? And that's the fun part about being at this age, isn't it? Some of you have money that you don't want to take with you to your grave. So it's an opportunity to invest in the future. So that some of that might come. Then I think I'm on pace here. This is okay. So then also I wanted to say some things about from a personnel standpoint. So yes, having heard from Andrea that if she had her druthers, she'd focus a little bit more on care and be able to be pulled out of the kids' stuff. First of all, one thing that's really helpful in that work is that we've had somebody step up to lead VBS. So Maggie, raise your hand. Say hi to Maggie. Louder, louder. And so, Maggie, raise your hand higher. Some of these people can't see you that well. Oh, there we go, yes. So if you are available to help with VBS, July 13th it starts, yes. That whole week, you can see her. She's looking for volunteers to fill out her group. So that's one of the short-term things, but what does it look like to help with the children's stuff long-term? At the same time, we've had Kurt as our interim youth pastor, and he has stepped up and big time to invest in the youth, and right now it's like gangbusters to get this trip to Kentucky going. We got like 34 people going to Kentucky, and so he's hiding in the way back. Let's give it up for Kurt. So, all that to say that the personnel team was looking at the various possibilities of what might be so, and how we continue to care for youth and continue to care for kids on into the future and invest in the next generation, not just from a facility standpoint, but from a personnel standpoint. And we knew Kurt's position was originally interim, and he stepped into that in a massive way, and his heart's very much in it right now. So we want to keep honoring that, and yet at the same time figure out what a long-term solution is, and then with kids. So all that to say that the personnel team crafted or looked at multiple possibilities and decided one of the things that we want to do is hire somebody who's thinking about the next generation. So literally they would be called a next-gen minister or next-gen pastor. And so we are moving forward with that idea of a next-gen person, and use it in rough terms, and again, I can't answer every question, but in rough terms, we're talking about somebody who would have a vision for and care of children really from 0 to 18. And you may say, how are they going to do all that? Well, they're not going to be able to do all that. They're going to have to be a leader of leaders. They're going to have to be plugged into one particular group, whether that's plugged into the youth and investing in them, and then helping to raise up children leaders who can invest in that generation, but hopefully to provide some vision to all of that work, because over the last number of years, we've hired part-time people to fill those spaces, whether that be children's or whether it be just like a sliver of Andrea's job or whatever it happened to be. We want somebody full-time thinking about that and thinking about the future generations, thinking about families, investing in the ones that are here. And there's other families coming, even like today, we had multiple other families come. It's a matter of keeping them here and keeping them, having that stickiness effect, and so we want to hire somebody who's going to move into that. So it was about time that we came to you and said, hey, the personnel team's been thinking about that. If you want to know who the personnel team is, that's me and Drew. That's Dave Taylor and Elizabeth Anderson. It's Chris Camp and Nancy Morris, and then it's Dan Kelly and Kathleen Brown. So we've been talking about that and moving that forward. And now, as we move forward and we're going to start this search for such a person, we're going to have a separate search team. Can I confirm that the person who said was going to be? Yes. So Mark Byland is going to be in charge of that search team. And a couple people from personnel will be on that search team. And then we're still looking for and may recruit you if you're a parent, especially if you have kids across the age groups. You know, if you have kids in elementary and heading into middle school, high school, we would love to have you on board for that team and help us to hire somebody. So, two big takeaways I want you to take away from this. We're trying to invest in the next generation at Faith Church. The facilities team is actively evaluating possible updates, and they're trying to get estimates and what it might look like and all these different things and prioritize what would be most helpful and most fit into what we want to do. And the personnel team is starting a search for a next-gen leader. So just wanted to put that out there, and we can have more details as we go along, answer more questions even on June 7th. And if you want to, you can come talk to me. But right now, we need to finish this up. Or you can talk to anybody else that's on the personnel team. But in the meantime, I appreciate all the support of the people who are currently in place helping out, and would covet your prayers for all of these things that I just mentioned. Okay? That's all I got for now. I want to take a little break. The kids are going to come back who went to the high school thing or went downstairs, and the worship team's going to get set up, and we're going to have a naming worship service, not just